Greetings everyone. This video is on my literacy autoethnography, where I see literacy as the ability to interact with my family and gain knowledge about where I come from through verbal interactions. Based on this, I will be referring to two sides of myself, which includes my hometown of Antioch, California, that I feel more personally connected to, and the other side that displays my Peruvian culture, where the sport of soccer, or football, makes up a great part of it. Furthermore, Antioch will be considered the fault line here, since it has a better tie with my personal experiences and why this is an important topic to me. However, I wouldn't mind if other teenagers my age can relate on this topic, because sometimes culture can be overlooked as we are transitioning to an independent life where you will be able to shape your identity to your liking based on the communities or subcultures that you feel connected to. It all comes together as a personal piece that can also be seen as motivation to those who can relate. In all, this digital short will analyze the rhetoric of my view on literacy autoethnography and my family's culture, which is Peruvian culture, regarding the importance of interactions that allow more knowledge about who I am to be revealed to myself. To me, literacy is the ability to interact with my family and gain knowledge about where I come from through verbal communications. As a member of a minority group of Peruvians in the US, it is important to keep our culture alive, and it has always been.
What I'm so proud of is how the rest of the world can look at this, is how the rest of these United States can look at what we see here in the Bay Area, just at a simple street intersection, and how we celebrate and love and embrace diversity in culture, and not only love and celebrate, but know we.
My parents did an amazing job at introducing me to where I came from during a time of various subcultures forming around me. I have always admired this, and in the present time, I feel like it is my responsibility to learn for myself, be the one asking the questions, to keep a sense of identity inside of me alive and embraced in Peruvian culture. What I'm saying is that I cannot take pride in myself until I can take pride in my family's culture, which without realizing it has already made up a strong base in my identity in the last 16 years. In the Peruvian national soccer team, I believe that literacy is described as the ability to represent a whole country in difficult times by bringing moral support through competition.
The sport has united Peruvians in a way nothing or no one else could. For a people used to disappointment, they already feel like champions, and their team has yet to play a single match.
In hard times, when political ideologies or beliefs are causing more problems than solutions, it is important that a sense of nationality stays alive for the sake of the unification of a whole country. It's the case with Peru, a country that has never been seen as an admirable nation in the eyes of others in terms of economic power, military alliances, or political influence. So when there's another way to prove yourself to the world, it comes in the way of tournaments, like the World Cup or Copa America.
Over the top, you might say? Well, when you see what the national team and making the World Cup means to these people, you may just change your mind. I mean, this is the nation where you'll see tens of thousands celebrated in squares across the country, or witness the 5,000 fans who welcome the national team at the airport in Argentina.
That have such a rich history in the South American country, along with all the other South American countries, which is what makes them even more significant to triumph in.
On Earth, every match is a physical, emotional and mental battle of wills between 10 nations that are equally as passionate about the game, the national team and the World Cup as each other. And Peru know this better than any.
I would say it shapes my identity. I would say both of these definitions, shape my identity, because these definitions really emphasize my connection to my family and culture. What I'm trying to say is that it displays my personal connection or relationship with my parents, which I am grateful for, since nowadays many households lack this relationship, where the perspective of culture isn't introduced to the child for reasons like work that may interrupt the time needed for this. It's a process that starts since you are born, And by the age I'm now, it has really been established in my brain, mind, conscious that my culture is a big part of who I am, because without it, I wouldn't be anywhere near the person I am now. On top of that, you mix in a strong correlation and pride in my nationality, a nation that isn't talked about much in Western society, and it creates a unique story based on something so special to me. I would say my identity has relation to the whole concept of American life by displaying that being in these special groups or communities is what makes up your identity in such a diverse country. In my case, it is that of the Peruvian national team, which I have grown a deep connection to with over the last 5 years during my spark of interest in the sport itself. I feel like I belong in a group of sports fans because I know that whether they win or lose, it will never stop me from supporting this team, because of the fact that if I turn my back on them, I am turning my back on my whole culture. Which I never planned to do. And it is this sense of belonging that differentiates you from the multiple communities, cultures, and subcultures that are constantly being founded, formed, and always there to grab your attention when you might be going through an identity crisis. A primary obstacle that I have noticed in reaching my goals of literacy is the idea of racism that will always carry a great significance in the lives of Peruvians and Latinos in general. It's the reason why some might feel uncomfortable sharing their perspectives or views on culture, since they base much of the present through the eyes of how others judge them. It is best explained in How to Be an Anti-Racist, where the author dives deep into this idea of racism and why it has a negative subconscious effect on the people of color. As a result, it makes it hard for me to get a clear understanding of my culture, because I wouldn't know if any information is or isn't under the influence of racism, which can drastically change the story. Furthermore, it's a matter of trust that can only be gained by having meaningful interactions with relatives or others from the community in Peru, which is difficult when you come to realize that there is a great distance that separates us. And this ties into my second obstacle, which is the distance from my home country to Antioch, California, which is inconvenient in reaching my goals of literacy, as it has created a language barrier over time. In other words, when you live in a country where English is the first language, but you are not white, it is a common thing for you to make up a language that you can identify with, which is referenced in the book How to Tame a Wild Tongue. In my case, it is Spanglish that has developed from Spanish and English slang through many years of living in the city of Antioch, which has grown drastically in Hispanic population, as we can see by this 2021 United States Census estimation. On one hand, it is what makes me and many other first-generation students unique. However, on the other hand, it is what challenges us, especially me, from truly understanding our culture, as it is harder to communicate ideas and interact with our elders when languages like Quechua from Peru can be as significantly important as their other customs and traditions. In the end, I hope this pushes anyone to learn and interact on a deeper level with their family, especially if you are young like me and can relate to being in this doubtful stage of life that gives you all the freedom to decide where you want to belong. But it is also this factor which makes it harder to choose. However, you have to realize that you were born into a family with culture, and even though it may not seem like it through your personal experiences, they will always have your back when you represent them. In the future, when you enter the real world, where judgment can sometimes be easily made because of your roots, you will be completely conscious of why someone would think of you a certain way, and confront these situations with confidence that defends what has shaped you in your process of life.